Hi YouTube, welcome back to Wtf Rc Cars. So we got the little LOSI Micro B, and if we turn left it's massively oversteering. The steering sort of Ackerman arms or plates is hitting the right hand shock, and if we turn left it's kind of overstressing the servo but not actually giving us any more steering. So we're definitely going to get problems with this. Unfortunately, in the manual I've looked through and I can't find how you set this, so I've done some digging and I'll bring you in for a close-up look and show you how we can fix this. This kind of really should have been set out the box, but for whatever reason LOSI decided, yeah, you guys can have a car that steers more one way than other and oversteers and it'll burn its servo out. So let's bring in for a close-up look and show you how to do what the factory should have done in first place. So you've got your little LOSI Micro B, and if like mine it's massively trying to oversteer when you're turning left. So your steering plate or steering bar or Ackerman, if you like, is hitting the right hand shock. So what we need to do is back the end point down when we turn left. If we turn right it's steering correctly. If we turn left, it's hitting this suspension and it's pulling the hub and everything inwards. So what we're going to do is power off the transmitter. We're going to power it back on, holding brake and full right. Then we should see as we turn, we start flashing. You can move your dual rate to back the steering down to something more reasonable. Once you've done that, if you then power off, when we then power back on, should be able to put us dual rates all the way back up, and now you see we're not oversteering, and now we've got exactly the same steering on both sides. And it looks like we could do a slight bit tuck out the right as it's sort of stressing the servo. So again, we're going to power off. Make sure as dual rates turned all the way up, hold back, right, and power on. We get the light flashing. So now we're going to turn fully right. And then we're going to back down the steering slightly. So if you just start steering till the point it stops adding steering to the right. You should only need to back it off a bit, and then press and hold the power. That should save us setting. Turn it back on, turn your dual rate all the way up. We should have correct steering where we can turn left, and we're no longer pushing the right shock, and we're no longer pulling the left hub in. Then when we turn right, it's actually stopping and not overstressing the servo. And that looks like we're pretty much now getting exactly the same steering left and right. So pretty much how it should have come out box. I know a lot of people think it's not turning right enough. It's actually way oversteering left out of box with stock settings. And when you lift it up you can tell because it's pulling the left hand hub in when you turn left, and it really shouldn't be. And basically you're looking for your little steering arms. It's going to be hard to show, but you want them coming to a right angle, not pulling back up, which we've now got. So we should have pretty close to identical steering left and right, and a much happier servo, and we're not getting a steering plate hitting either one of the front suspension. Now you can do exactly the same to set your steering endpoints, to set your throttle and brake endpoints. So if you power off, you can go full brake, full right, power it on. Bearing in mind you're going to need the RC off the ground for this, because it will try and shoot off. But if you go full throttle, you can then back this down, and you can back down your endpoint, and exactly the same for brake. So if we go forward, you can go brake, and you can turn it down to reduce your brake, I believe. And if you go reverse, you can turn it down to reduce your reverse speed. I don't really see any need to do that. Just remember, if the one that you're wanting to turn down, so if you want to reduce the throttle, you'd have to turn it down and then press and hold the power button at that point. For me, I'm going to leave that exactly where it is. And then all you need to do to set the steering is you turn it all the way and then just back it down till it's only turning the amount you want. Power it off, power it back on with the dual rate all the way up, and then you get the correct steering. When you want to do the right steer, so hold the brake, alt weight at right, power it up, then you turn alt weight at right, and then just back it off ever so slightly so it's not trying to oversteer, and then power off. When you power it back on, turn your dual rate alt way back up, and then we got the correct amount of steering, no overstressing servo, and no massive oversteer on the left turn, pulling this hub in and hitting the shock. Hopefully that's easy enough to follow, but you will end up then with a very nicely set up little micro B. That steering servo is going to last a whole lot longer, and it's going to be a whole lot happier, and it's going to be a whole lot nicer to drive because it steers the same in both directions if you don't drive it off the end of your table. But yeah, shame these things are sold as RTRs but don't come out the box set up in a way that they're not going to break things. But yeah, the little SCX24, that had got some weirdness to it. I think people kept burning motors out, and on that the stock hexers, if you tighten the wheels up, the hexers bound up and it burnt your motor out. Looks like on this one, if you try and run it as it comes out box, when you turn left it's massively oversteering, and when you turn right it doesn't look like it's turning as far, but it's actually trying to oversteer, and it would eventually burn out its little servo. But yeah, nice that we've got the option of setting the endpoints. And yeah, although I'm not a massive fan of these cheap low-end Spectrum transmitters, it's nice that we've got options to set endpoints, and we've got dual rates, and we've got trim, and you can turn throttle down on back and reverse your steering servo. So yeah, overall not a bad little transmitter. You have to put things into perspective. The whole set is like £100, so yeah, not bad at all. But let's wrap this one up. So there we have it, how to set your endpoints, mainly on steering, but you can do the same on throttle and brake. Just remember, everything you touch, it's one thing for each one. So hold the brake, hold full right, turn it on, then set either the throttle or the steering left or the steering right or the reverse endpoint. Don't do one and try and go in other, because when you back out, it just saves the one that you're trying to change. And if you touch any others, it'll reset them because it thinks you're trying to change them as well. So it's far easier, just brake, full right, power up, turn left, set your endpoint using the dual rate dial, power off, keep it held, full lock, power off, then brake, right, power on, alt weight at right, and then back your dual rate down to set your right end point, then power off, and you should be good to go. Don't try and do more than one in one cycle, because it'll just forget. But it does save it when you power it off, and you do end up with the correct amount of steering, both left and right, and your servo's not squealing. So should get a whole lot longer out of your little servo. But yeah, can't wait to take this one racing. I have tried it in-house, and to be totally honest, I really don't think you need to upgrade the motor or anything in them. They seem like they'd be pretty lively enough on a track. And the beauty is, if you're racing in a stock class, anybody with the spare £100 can just buy one of these things, chuck it down on track, and have a whole lot of fun. Everybody should be pretty close running, so yeah, it could make for quite a good race series. But thanks again for watching WTF Rc Cars. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, share to friends and family, and catch you guys again in the next one.